Welcome to Hairblazers, the podcast where we empower you to disrupt the beauty industry, starting with your chair and your salon. You can focus on running your business and tune in here to find out how to keep it moving forward. My name's Naomi. I'm the marketing manager for the Aveda Institute and for the Verde Salon Group.
And I'm Colleen Lamrad. I'm the Director of Education and Business Development for the Verde Salon Group.
And today we're joined by a very special guest. This is Ian Hearth. Thank you so much for joining us. Ian is the owner of Storm Hair Group and also a national Aveda educator. So very cool to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful day. Thank you
It
for bringing
is.
me on a warmer day to Winnipeg.
Yeah, and we didn't bring in February, which is great. The sun's shining, so
No minus 40 for you.
No, not this time.
not this year.
Okay, I'll remember this.
There's so many different things we could talk about with you because you have such an array of experience. But we wanted to kind of focus on, we would call it the lucrative world of bridal styling.
I like that.
Yeah. So to start, maybe just tell us a little bit about your journey in the industry.
I come from a family of hairdressers. I kind of thought about getting into doing hair when I was about 14. And my mom was a hairdresser, so I had kind of access to her equipment. A bunch of my friends were punk rockers, so they didn't care what their hair looked like. As cool as what
That's
it
great.
was. You could do really whatever that you wanted. So I kind of experimented a lot doing their hair. And then started like getting into really focusing on being like becoming a hairdresser when I was about 18. So that was, I don't know, a long time ago, too long ago.
It doesn't look that long ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I got into like the school and stuff like that, and that was amazing. I loved it. The first day that I showed up to school, I was just like, "This is where I'm supposed to be." It just felt real. It felt comfortable, and I got a job in a salon, and I was there for about 6 months. And my boss suggested that we take this course in Toronto, and it was a haircutting course, and it was Martin Parsons. So we took this three-day cutting course, and at the end of it, Martin came up to me and he's like, "I love the way that you work. How would you like to work for me?" And I was like, "Wow, cool. But my boss here just paid for half of this class. I can't really do that to her." And he's like, No. It's not like a full-time gig. It's you just come up to Toronto and help out with the classes, kind of assist me, set up mannequins. Like you're here at like 6 a.m. and you're probably here until about 7 or 8 p.m. And he's like, "What do you think?" I was like, "How much you paying me?" And he's like, "I'm not going to pay you." He's like, "I'll give you education. I'll teach you how to do hair, and you'll do kind of all this work that we need." I was like, "That sounds great. I love that." So I go home and tell my dad, it's like, "Hey, they offered me this job. I'm going to be an assistant for Martin Parsons." He's like, "Well, how much does it pay?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Nothing." He's like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "No, I'm not."
That's not how it works.
I knew what I was getting into, and I knew the value that I had from it. So I assisted for him for probably about a year and a half, and really learned everything. And Martin is the guru of long hair. So he taught me his cutting technique, which was amazing. It made a lot of sense, and it helped me at the beginning of my career. And then the long hair was like what I loved. And when he started doing updos and stuff like that, it was like, this is like the coolest thing because it's like sculpting hair. And if you mess it up, you take it down and you just redo it. Whereas if you cut hair or color hair, you kind of have to wait till it grows out or that you can change it.
That's very true. And it is so funny that so many people are terrified of doing upstyling and they're fine with colors.
Yeah. If something doesn't look right, you just change it right then. So it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I think that's partially a matter of practice. You know, if you don't have a ton of experience or if you don't get the opportunity to do upstyling very often, it can definitely seem scary. But that's why education is so important.
Yeah. In the beginning of my career, I remember there was a wedding party that came into the salon. I tell this like story in class because this kind of relates to a lot of people's kind of scares of being in the salon.
Yeah.
And I remember this wedding party came in, and the girl sat down in my chair, and she wanted her hair put up. So I was like, grabbed her hair and started putting it up, and I was like so excited. And I got her hair up, and then I went to the lunchroom and came back telling the girls, I was like, "Yeah, I just did an updo. It's like my first updo." And so I come back, and somebody else is doing her hair, like fixing her hair. I was like, "What happened?" I was like, "She hated her hair. Like she just didn't like it." And I just felt terrible that I made somebody feel horrible and didn't feel good about themselves. So that was when I kind of started like really diving deep into it. And I don't want somebody to feel like that. I don't want to be responsible for somebody feeling like that. So I was like, made sure that I learned everything that I could learn about doing hair up.
That's good. And so I didn't realize it was from that early in your career that you're like, this is what I enjoy.
Yeah, and kind of on the marketing side of things for myself, I thought it's like this is a way to kind of set myself apart from everybody else, and just telling people that I'm the updo guy. So that's
a great niche to have.
Absolutely. So what impact did you see when you decided that this was something that you were going to set yourself apart with? This was something that you were going to focus in on?
Yeah, like when I decided that this was kind of the direction that I really wanted to go with my career, I just started telling people, and word just got out there. I had the confidence in myself, and I think I had the confidence in the education that I had, that that I could do what people wanted me to do, or kind of exceed what their expectations were. So the confidence was important. The knowledge that I had was important. That gave me the confidence, and so I didn't mind telling people, or if I was out, I'd say, hey, I'd love to do your hair. Or if you've got like an event that you're going to, it's like, why don't you let me do your hair for the wedding that you're going to, or the event that you're going to, whatever it would be. And I just give them ideas of what I would do. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go sit in his chair because he's telling me what he's going to do with my hair. And it was easy to kind of get you the word out by telling people.
People love having like a vision. So like if same with colors, cuts, anything, if you're like, oh my gosh, I think this would look so amazing on you. Have you ever thought of this? Like, I just think if I was in that position, I'd be like, oh, you have this vision for me? That sounds exciting. Like, let's do it. So I think that's so smart in saying, hey, I think this would look great. They maybe haven't even thought of it.
Yeah, we used to have, I remember like years ago, I had like this group of like high school girls, and they were going to like proms, and they're going to like semi-formals and stuff like that. And they'd all used to come into the salon all at the same time, and they get their makeup done and get their hair done. And I'd have to do like a different style on each one of them, because it couldn't be the same thing. They couldn't all go to the same event, all looking exactly the same. So that was a fun thing too. And then they would go out and they'd all look totally different. They look beautiful. And it was like this great kind of advertising package that just went out to everybody that was at that event. And that really helped too. That helped my career.
Yeah, I feel like the referrals, especially in bridal styling, because there's so many stylists that say, I don't even do up styling because they're terrified. And so referrals would be huge in that, knowing that someone you know or someone that you see, that they trust this person.
Well, and people who are graduating know each other. People who are getting married know other people in their same age group who are also getting married. People whose kids are graduating know other people who are parents of kids who are graduating.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I can definitely see how referral would be a very, very smart way to go about that for that specific type of styling.
I think it's even easier now with Instagram and social media to get those images out there to let people know that that's what you do.
So like we said, so many people are terrified of doing up styles. And I say this because I look at our team and of 25 people on our team, I'd say there's maybe a handful that enjoy it. And I think more would enjoy it if it was just like practicing, but not for an actual event. Like, I think that's what stresses them out. So what advice would you have for either new stylists or stylists that have been in the industry for a while that just aren't comfortable doing up styling? Like, what would you say would be a good first few steps just to get them?
Don't overthink it. I think that's what the biggest problem when somebody looks at an image or somebody brings in a picture and they break it down too complex. The simpler that you think, the better that the result is going to be. So a ponytail is an updo. That's the simplest.
Yeah.
Anybody can.
Yes.
Hopefully, anybody can do a ponytail, and it's a good ponytail is different than just a ponytail.
Yes.
So it's like, where's the balance of that ponytail going to be? If it's in the right spot, it looks fantastic.
Yes.
Is it nice and clean? Is it polished? Is it finished? Is there a finish onto it? That's what makes a beautiful ponytail, as opposed to just putting hair into an elastic.
So it's like learning those little tricks.
Yeah.
And
think simple.
Think simple. And you know what? I feel like way back, like when I started hair, which wasn't that long ago, but I mean, so say 14 years ago, and it was like you charged, it was like based on time. And now I'm like, if I can do a beautiful upstyle in like 20, 30 minutes because I'm not overthinking it, like I feel like people would want to pay like even more for that, right? It's not about the time or how many bobby pins you use or the product.
It's about the skill level and the experience level. Absolutely.
Yeah, if anybody's ever seen Martin Parsons on stage when he was doing kind of his shows and stuff, he would do probably about 7 or 8 updos during a session, like on stage. And that's in like a half an hour, 45 minute. So it's not how fast that you do it or how slow that you do it.
Mhm.
It's just how good that you do it. I
It's a
think
different way
that's-
of thinking, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are like, I'm just going to curl all the hair first because that way I have time to think about what I'm going to do. And you're like, you don't have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Ian, you're a salon owner, and this is something that you've focused on for, the majority of your career up until this point. So what kind of an impact do you see bridal styling have like in the salon? And like, what do you think is the opportunity for bridal styling for a salon business as a whole?
A bridal party coming into the salon is a great energy. Usually on a Saturday morning, sometimes Fridays, sometimes Tuesdays now. People are coming in all times of the week. So it creates a great energy in the salon, and it gets some excitement that's going on different than what a color service would be or a haircut service. Other people that are in there are kind of seeing it and seeing kind of this, kind of the happiness that's going on during this time, which is great. There's happiness in the salon when somebody's getting a color and a haircut as well. But I think that there's just kind of this other kind of energy that's in the salon. So I think that that's a fun thing. For salons, I think that you should be kind of well-rounded in everything. I don't want, I wouldn't want a salon just to do one thing. I think that the salons, for the success of what the business would be kind of doing a little bit of everything, or doing a lot of everything if you can, if you're big enough space to do that. And I think that the marketing of doing a wedding party is amazing. Like you're bringing in other people that aren't necessarily customers of the salon. Yeah. So if they're part of a wedding party, then they're going to see what your space is like. And it gives them an idea for the future. If they're looking to kind of change their stylist or their salon, or if they're moving, then it kind of gives them another place for them to come to.
That's very true. It's very true. And then let's talk about what a lot of people don't talk about, which is the money. And I think people think in many ways that, well, I could do a haircut or a color and make more money in like a smaller amount of time. So I feel like there's just that kind of narrative around bridal styling a lot of times. I want to know from your point of view, like, how do you charge based, like, do you do it based on time? Like,
our pricing strategy is based on time.
Okay.
So we've got different levels throughout the salon, and each person is kind of falls into a different category. We kind of look at it like, what is their hourly rate that they kind of need to bring in to kind of cover what the wage is, or kind of surpass what that wage is. So yeah, that's it. We kind of break it down into time. So if you can go faster with it, we're not going to reduce the cost of what that is. If you could do an updo in half an hour, it's like you can still charge the same price as what you did for an hour that somebody's going to be taking as well. So it's like, it's better to kind of reduce your time down. You're going to make a lot more money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's hard to reduce that time when you're doing something like a color. The opportunity isn't there in the same way as it is with like styling.
Yeah. And then using assistants, if you've got assistants in the salon that can curl the hair or whatever that you need them to do, rather than just putting the hair up. I think that can kind of speed the process along as well. Yeah, one of the other things I think about, like with brides, is when they come in for an initial kind of consultation, kind of bring them in. If they're regular clients of the salon, it's easy to kind of have the conversations of what to do to prepare your hair before you get to your wedding. But if they're not, and they've made that initial phone call, like a lot of times we're booking brides a year to a year and a half in advance. So at that point, it's like we want to make sure that their hair is in like the best condition before it comes to their wedding. So making sure that their color is proper, making sure that the condition of their hair is the optimum condition. So we kind of bring them in for different services. So there's kind of like that upsell as well. It's like, okay, get your hair feeling great, looking great, and then your wedding hair is just going to be like beautiful.
Make sure you're using nice products, Aveda products.
Some Aveda stuff would be nice.
Yeah, well, and just like you mentioned, that's the opportunity for color. That's the opportunity for treatments. That's also potentially the opportunity for something like extensions as well for the day of, because so many upstyles we see. Obviously, you can do it in clever ways where you can't necessarily tell exactly how full the hair is. But if somebody has shorter hair, or if somebody's hair is less full, extensions can be a fantastic add-on to make sure they're getting the look that they want for their day.
Yeah.
And we love asking this question to all of our salon owners. So what do you think is the biggest challenge that salon owners are facing right now?
That's a great question. I was thinking about this, and I think there's a couple of different ways. One of my biggest challenges is the new staff that we have that are coming in want to be as busy as the people that have been doing hair for 15, 20 years. And I want them to be as busy as the people that have been there for 15, 20 years. It's just those small steps that you have to take along the way to get to that level. And I think that younger staff get discouraged that it's not as quick and as easy as what it looks like on Instagram. I think that you've got to put the time and that effort in. You got to put that extra time and that extra effort in to get that success and to get the knowledge and the expertise and the clientele. And it's this juggle of this balance of getting to where you want to be. I think setting a goal is a great idea. If you're going to say in 2 years, I want to have this many clients.
Yes.
But that's I think one of the biggest challenges.
Patience.
Yeah. I was going to say it's the balance of patience, but also putting in the work, going above and beyond in the day-to-day to make sure you're getting to that end goal. Because, if you say, I want to have this many clients by end of year 2, but you're not taking the steps you need to get there, it's going to be a very hard road.
Yeah.
So, and I think too, at the beginning, it's like, probably a lot of the efforts you're putting in are not going to yield the results you would see them yield for somebody else as well. Like if you're talking about the referral program versus if somebody who's been doing hair for 5 years and has a full clientele is talking about the referral program, they're obviously going to see very different results than you are as somebody who's new, who hasn't built up their clientele yet. So I think that that's one thing that people who are new to the industry don't necessarily consider. They see that they're not getting the same results as somebody who is established, and they can definitely get discouraged.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's like everywhere too. And new talent for sure. I mean, having more senior stylists or more senior staff that can like share with them and let them know like, this is what you have to look forward to, has really like helped us for sure, because it's like they think as soon as they're out. I mean, there's a reason that so many people leave the hair industry within the first year. Is there anything else that you want to talk about as far as challenges go other than that?
I think the culture in the salon is the most important thing. I think that you create that culture in the salon, even outside of the salon. We do a lot of events together. We go bowling, we go for dinners, a couple of drinks and stuff like that. So I think that creating kind of the friendship within the salon makes it so great for the whole team, and it makes it feel, I think, genuine to the customers that are coming in too.
They notice.
Yeah, that we're goofing around, we're friends, and if they feel that, they're going to feel a lot more welcomed when they come in there. So we don't really have an internal competition with each other, which is such a great thing to be a part of. We don't really look at having kind of a competition kind of beyond that as well. We're just here kind of doing our thing and living in the moment for what we're at. And I think that if you're in that mode, I think that you don't need to worry about anything else. I think that your clientele and your business will thrive if you've got that and that confidence with everything that's going on.
Yeah, there's enough success in the world for everyone, right? It's like
totally,
it's not one or the other.
Yeah,
it's all
like,
of us.
When we break down how many clients that you need, it's like each person that is kind of like a full-time employee, we're departmentalized. So for a cutting stylist, you need around 200 clients. That's it. So where we are, we draw from probably about 1 million people, like in kind of where we live. Yeah. And so 200 people per person, it's not really that many people. It's not that hard. So I think if new staff that are starting out, if they realize that, it's like, oh, I only need 200. It doesn't seem as daunting as like having a full clientele and filling yourself up every single day. It's like 200 people out of 1 million is pretty easy to do. So think of it as simplest terms.
So if there was a piece of advice you could give to somebody who's considering opening a salon, what would that be?
I think it goes back to the culture. Like create that culture first. And if you've got kind of your idea of what your culture wants to be, if it's that friendship, if that's energy, if that's art, if it's whatever it would be authentic to what your culture is and kind of attract that type of, that kind of staff member. Go to the schools, build up your staff from the base. For salon owners, I think going to the schools and finding the right people that are going to fit with the culture that you're trying to create or that you've already created, those are the people that should be in the salon, and those are the ones that you should be going after and trying to get them and creating that culture right from the beginning. Yeah, that's what we've always done, and that's always what's worked out best for our salon.
Culture.
Have you had any challenges maintaining that culture as you've grown?
We've hired out of desperation. I'm not going to lie.
As many salons have in the last couple of years.
You just need to kind of fill those chairs that are there, and they kind of weed themselves out. And that's kind of, we want to open the door up, that we're inviting everybody to kind of come and work for us. We'd love to have everybody, but obviously we can't. We just don't have that space for it.
And I think once you establish the culture that you want, it becomes a lot easier. And it just seems to happen that the right people with the right attitude, they just are more drawn to you, right?
Yeah.
Once you establish that culture.
We hire for kindness, and we'll teach
Yes.
education. So if you've got a kind person that comes in and has a conversation with you, and you get along, you kind of like them, then it's easier for them and you to give them your skills, kind of educate them, and then they can become successful.
We agree.
If they're in the right spot. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We have a bridal upstyling class happening right after this in our salon. Our team's very excited for it. But maybe you can let us know where people can find you, like Instagram, website.
Yeah, Instagram, Hair by Ian Hearth is where I'm at. And the salon that I work at is called Storm Hair Group. And it's a cool place. It's kind of like you guys.
Oh, thanks.
It's got the same feel. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. And if anyone wants to reach out to maybe book a class with you, where would be the best place to do that?
Through Veda is the best way to kind of contact your SDP, and they've got my contact info, and they can get me out to the salon or in your area.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. Make sure you leave us a review, share with your team, and tune in for the next episode.
I'm not crying.
Oh, come on.